Welcome back, everyone, to Mindset Win, into our Thursday's episode with York and myself, where we're going to reflect on the chat that I had this Tuesday, which leads me to the question, York, do you know how many countries you've traveled to?
Oof, maybe
3.
It's a few more than that. Maybe 35 or something. Yeah.
That's
Do you
solid.
know?
I definitely don't know. No clue. But the person I talked to this Tuesday definitely knows, because he has been to all of them. He is a content creator who focuses obviously on travel. And here he is, Drew Binsky.
I just really think that stepping out of your comfort zone, you don't know until you actually go and meet people and realize that the world is safer than you think. People are super friendly and humans are just humans. And that's kind of one of the biggest takeaways I've had.
York, traveling to every country and to every state in this world is quite the accomplishment. And from, just comparing this to my own level of feeling comfortable, probably, this is very far outside of, I think, everyone's comfort zone. How would you define the comfort zone? Because before we started this recording, you're like, what does that even mean? That's a good question. What does it even mean?
So I asked you what it means, and now you're asking me the question.
Back to you, my friend.
I mean, what is the definition of the comfort zone? I guess it's a repetition of the things that we feel comfortable and or competent in, without having to force ourselves to potentially have new experiences, unknown outcomes, those things. So I guess if you know the outcome, if it's good or bad or great or whatever, it's still within your comfort zone. But I guess my definition would be if it's an unknown situation, and especially an unknown outcome with unknown consequences, that's maybe then outside of your comfort zone. So traveling to so many different countries, honestly, my immediate reaction was jealousy.
Yeah,
it sounds super cool to just see so many different cultures, so many different people and all of that. But then thinking about it more, my next reaction was, oof, but then there's probably a lot of dangers, stress, trouble associated with that as well. Going to some countries that you really don't know very much about, and kind of just stepping into that country, and who knows what awaits you there, right? So initially I was like, wow, so cool. And then my next reaction was, ooh, maybe not for me.
One thing Drew said one advice that he had was to focus on the positive things that could happen rather than being afraid of the negative stuff. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I agree. Both are important, I think. So it's if you are going to try something new, then only worrying about all the things that can go wrong, then it's probably going to be really difficult to actually convince yourself to do it. But at the same time, if I'm only thinking about all the positive things that can come out of it, maybe that's a little bit naive as well, because I still need to consider what are the things that might be a challenge and how will I overcome them. So to have a plan for how to overcome them. And, recently I spoke with an athlete who was traveling to a competition in a completely new place for them, in a different continent that they've never been to before. And we were kind of writing down a list of the really great things about it, how nice it was to go there, but also then having a list of, okay, what should I look out for? What should I prepare for? Actually bringing some emergency snacks as well, in case what's available there was not what they liked and stuff. So it just, I think it's just finding the right balance of looking forward to it, thinking about the really positive outcomes, but also then considering what's my backup plan in case something goes wrong.
Yeah, and then my reaction actually was, he must be so good by now at solving problems. Just like having to find a solution for whatever unknown factor comes at you.
Yeah.
That's a muscle you can train, or maybe can train probably as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And just adapting, right? So maybe you go in with a certain expectation or a certain plan, until you then realize, okay, this is not going to be possible here. I need to think of something different. And I guess one of the ways he solves many of the problems is by just connecting with people, not always through English language, but sometimes just through other methods of communicating and getting other people to help him, which I think is a skill that he's probably very, very good at.
And if we're transferring all of this back to your work with the athletes, defining a comfort zone, defining what lies on the other side, really, solving problems, comfortably moving into the unknown, communication.
Yeah.
How do you approach a conversation with an athlete who, maybe stays too much in the comfort zone?
Well, I guess a lot of people would argue that Red Bull athletes are the ones who step out of their comfort zone. Or, breaking records, doing world firsts, just doing really a lot of things that other people couldn't even think of. But having said that, to be able to do such extraordinary things, as much as possible, the athletes want to still be in their comfort zone. So what I mean by that is, let's take Dario Costa as an example, because it's an athlete that I know very well as well. Worked with him on the tunnel pass, where he was the first person to fly a plane through a tunnel, and in the end, it wasn't a step out of his comfort zone, because we prepared so much for this moment and looked at so many of the images of the tunnel and spent a lot of time actually like in the tunnel and training all different aspects of it. But in the end, in one of the interviews afterwards, and also in his book, he wrote that the tunnel felt like his living room. So actually, we turned this situation into something that was within his comfort zone, because we had thought of everything, and it wasn't a step into the unknown anymore, because everything was known. And I know that this is just one example for most of the incredible projects that you can see of Red Bull athletes, that that you have to prepare this so much that in the end it is within the athlete's comfort zone. They're not risking everything without having done any kind of pre-work. It is all calculated.
Can you apply that to everything? Are you basically defying the concept by saying that?
Okay, no, we went into one specific
but still,
yeah.
whatever situation I'm trying to think of right now, I could technically prepare as much for everything, right? I could call people who've been in the situation before, most of the time, first person to fly through a tunnel, not the same thing, but right?
You could, but I mean, this is
decode.
This is probably a little bit too extensive for all the little things that we do in our life. So, if I'm driving to visiting a new city or something, then maybe, yes, beforehand I will research a lot and try to find out as much as I can about that city before I go, so that I can make the most of the time and so on. But if it's just, the one road on my way to work is blocked, so I need to go a different way, then I'm probably not going to spend a lot of time preparing for that. Or, I don't know. There's so many little things in our daily lives where we are slightly out of our comfort zone, where I think it would be completely excessive to then spend a lot of time preparing for that. But, with every new experience, with every event where we step out of our comfort zone, it gives us some sort of benefits as well, because, it kind of, by going out of our comfort zone, it gives us the experience of actually learning new things, and eventually it gives us confidence to do that again and again and again. So, visiting a new country for the first time in your life is something that is probably quite nerve-wracking, probably quite exciting as well, but also, you might start to worry a lot about it. But if you once you've done it for the first time, then visiting the second country, third country, fourth country, it will become a lot easier because you become more confident, right? So
is confidence the counterpart to what happens inside of the comfort zone?
not really. Confidence is, I think, of course, confidence comes from many different experiences, many different things, but it's a side effect of stepping out of your comfort zone. That you can elevate your confidence.
And then if I'm a person who would like to grow and develop, and I do realize that this happens outside of this zone that we've mentioned a couple of times, do you have tips or tricks to enhance my confidence to do so, or methods that I can apply, or routines that I can accomplish that help me get there?
Well, first of all, it's not for everyone. For some people, it comes a lot more natural to try out something new. So if you're someone who enjoys the process of trying out something new, a new activity, visiting a new place, meeting new people, then I don't think you need any tips or tricks to do that even more or do it even better, because it comes naturally to you. But if you're someone who tends to avoid those situations, just start small. Don't ask too much of yourself by, just suddenly taking a huge step and stepping into a completely unknown situation or something like that. I would just start small to just increase your confidence in stepping out of your comfort zone. So, it doesn't have to be a huge change in your life, and it can just be adding a little thing and then becoming comfortable with that, and then adding more, and just giving it a chance, because
That's nice.
great things can come from it, and especially those athletes who are from the non-traditional sports, for example wakeboarding or skydiving or something like that. They weren't born with the idea of becoming a professional in that specific niche sport. But in most cases, it was just a coincidence of, oh yeah, I was visiting my friend in this place, and then we were driving by and we saw this, and they were offering a free trial or something, and I did it, and I fell in love with it, and then became professional at it. So it's not, they didn't, yeah, but it's, what I mean is that they didn't plan to become a professional in that sport, but it just happened because they were open to the idea of trying something new. And they didn't say, oh, no, that sounds a bit crazy, I don't want to do that. But instead, they just thought, okay, yeah, why not give it a try? Maybe I like it. And in most cases, they will have tried 20 other things before that they didn't like as much. And then they found this one thing that they really liked. But you're not going to find that one thing if you're not open to the idea of trying new things. So why not try a new activity or something, even if you're at the moment kind of against the idea of it? But it could just be the thing for you.
Yeah, I really like the idea of this, beginner's mind, always being open, always being curious, really. And you mentioned before that it's not for everyone. Would you still say, kind of just adding to your last sentence there, that it is important in some way, though, to, even though you might not be the crazy exploring, outgoing type, that it's still important somehow to push yourself a little bit outside of what you know?
Yeah, I agree with that for sure, because okay, my world evolves around sports, so I'm immediately always thinking of different sport activities. But also, if that's not really your thing, physical activity or something, then maybe what you want to try is just try new recipes, right? Or even just trying a new genre of books that you haven't tried before. So maybe sci-fi is for you. It could be, quite, and that's what I mean with quite small steps, quite little changes where the outcome is still unknown. You don't really know if you're going to like it or not, but there's also not a big risk of
Yeah, fair.
like if it goes wrong, there's not going to be any severe consequences or anything like that. So maybe before you go out and do a skydive, when you don't feel comfortable doing it, maybe start by doing some smaller changes first or something like that, right? And interestingly, though, it's also that just something that came to mind there was that we're actually more likely to engage in an activity where we already know that the outcome is going to be bad or negative than engaging in an activity where we don't know what the outcome is going to be.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Because it's just that's just how our brains work. If I know that if I do this certain thing, it's going to make me feel tired or I'm going to be unhappy or whatever, I'm still more likely to do that than something where I don't know what the outcome is going to be.
I can't believe that's true. I'm just, trying to surf through whatever I was thinking about doing. Really?
I'll send you the research.
No, I mean, obviously, I believe you. That's crazy, though.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Um,
Or what does the research say?
Good question. I mean, I think it's just this fear of the unknown, because the potential consequences or outcomes could be even worse, even if it's likely that they're probably going to be good.
Huh.
But just the not knowing is what I think people then step away from, because we'd rather do something where we already know what's going to happen. I can't explain it any more than that.
All right, Jörg. Thanks once again for the input, for the inspiration as well.
You're welcome.
I'm definitely gonna find one little thing to do outside of my comfort zone, maybe an outside activity, something I'm not doing usually. And I hope that we are motivating you at home to do the same. And we would love to hear if you're actually doing something, if you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And we would love for you to share the stories, to share the progress. And you can do so either by commenting or leaving a review on whatever podcast platform you're listening. If you're watching on our brand new Mindset Win YouTube channel, you can do it there as well. Drop us an email on mindsetwin@redbull.com or reach out if you feel comfortable doing so over my Instagram DMs. My handle is @Lisa_Ramushkat, and we'd love to get in touch. And this was our Thursday's episode. Excited to have you back on Tuesday with our next guest.